What's going on, everybody? Sausage here. What if you strapped a mining operation onto a train and then watched that train slowly learn to play the game for you? Today, we're talking Trainiac, an indie incremental battler that's exactly as weird as it sounds. So, is it worth your time? Let's break it down. Trainiac starts as an incremental battler where you upgrade train cars to mine resources. But I'll be honest, the first hour or so is a little bit of a slog. You're making progress, but it just doesn't feel like you're making progress. Not yet. Then, after you beat the first level, the game suddenly just kind of wakes up. You go to a new level or a new biome, there's new resources, and what's even cooler is that you can craft higher tier resources by combining those new resources with your old ones. But after a while, you kind of hit a plateau, you kind of stagnate a little bit. What I mean is that your train can get so strong that you can go to an old biome to collect older resources, and then you can just kind of walk away for 5 minutes and come back after it's done. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you want something more hands-on, well, you might be disappointed. Then, around the 5-hour mark, the game basically automates itself. My only job was switching levels or checking menus, which you can imagine got pretty boring. Once I hit that plateau, I was kind of wondering if there would be a prestige mode or something to reset my progress that would then add buffs or perks to keep things interesting, but as far as I can tell, that's not a mechanic in the game. In my experience, the last few hours were just grinding the final level, and I wasn't sure if I missed some sort of mechanic or if it wasn't explained well, and if I didn't miss anything, which I don't think it did, then that just adds to the slog that it kind of turned into. Eventually, I got tired of the grind, and I replaced pretty much everything on my train with just weapons, and I brute forced the ending, and then I unlocked some extra content, but that extra content was basically just an ever-increasing damage check, nothing more. When you beat the game, you can go back to old levels, and you can replay them on an ever-increasing difficulty, and you can unlock more perks for your perk tree, but again, it was just basically a damage check. There was nothing else to it. Moving on to the graphics and art, the game has a clean 8-bit vibe with colors that really pop, especially in my favorite level, the caverns. Trainiac is visually pleasant for sure, but nothing that really stands out. What I mean is that it's not bad, but it's not great, it just kind of exists, and that's okay. Next, let's talk about the soundtrack. Trainiac has a lo-fi soundtrack, and at first, I loved it. But after about an hour, it does start to feel a little bit stale. The upside is that it doesn't get annoying, you just kind of tune it out. I decided to take a break after playing the game for about 2 hours, and I came back a little later, and honestly, the break helped. It made the music feel fresh again. Lastly, let's talk about the time or the price tag. Trainiac costs $6 on Steam. I basically beat the game in about 8 hours, and I grabbed 19 of the 22 achievements. You could squeeze it down to about 6 hours if you wanted to speedrun it though. With all of that said, Trainiac earns a rating of 7 sausages out of 10. Trainiac is, in every sense, average. The gameplay is fine, but it's missing some depth, such as a prestige system. It would have added so much more replayability. The graphics, they're good, but they're not really memorable either. The soundtrack is cozy, but it becomes repetitive, and the price tag, it's fair, sitting at $6, though I wouldn't really blame you if you wanted to wait for a small sale like 10% off either. So again, Trainiac is not bad, but it's not great either, it's just Trainiac. And that's my review of Trainiac. If you got this far, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a little comment below, but if not, just know that I appreciate your viewership nonetheless. I also stream on Twitch occasionally, I have a Discord for both content creators and casual viewers alike, and I'm a Steam curator, so consider following me on all of those platforms as well. I'll leave a link to everything in the description below. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut my review here. Mahoney out.